What's up everyone, welcome back to the channel. Andy here with the first episode of our complete guide to Materia. Now first episode because I consider that this subject is big enough to span at least 3 videos. Today we're going to try to understand Materia, basically what it is, how to get it, what effect it has on our party. On the second episode we're going to cover all of synthesis. We're going to be spending a lot of our time in the game in that area. I didn't want to try to cram it in the same video because I think it's too much. The third and possibly final episode is going to be how to upgrade it. That's not so time consuming, but it's going to cost us a lot of heartache. There could possibly be a 4th episode, which is a super detailed guide on how to equip it, but for now, those 3 episodes should get you started. I'm hoping to put out a video today, then Saturday and Sunday. That should complete the basic guide. Alright, so Materia. What the heck is it? Materia is the equivalent in this game to what we find in other gachas such as gear, runes, relics. It's something that we can equip on our party that's going to give us, first of all, an ability, and second of all, a boost to our stats. Stats is the name of the game for gachas. You want to push them as high as you can to clear new content. If there's PvP, obviously, to beat the crap out of other people. Now, each character can equip 3 different materias, and because we have a party of 3, that gives us a total of 9 possible abilities. We're obviously going to be looking for a combination of stuff that helps us to deal damage, stuff that helps us to stay alive, maybe some stuff that allows us to kill bosses more easily. All of those functions we're going to find under Materia, and we can start identifying those functions by these 3 symbols you'll see over here. Now, when you select any specific materia and you then click on this box, the game is going to tell you what the effect is. This says it's a magical heal, it has a healing potency of 96%, and the range is a single ally. The 3 icons that I just mentioned kind of break down materia into different categories. I'm going to break these categories down into 3. The first one is going to be magical attack materia. If we look at the 3 symbols, the first one is going to indicate what this materia is. So arrow is always going to look like this. Cure or cura is always going to have this little cross with the smaller crosses around it. Straight up fire is just going to be fire, while there are fire with effects. Anyway, under this first magical attack category, we're going to find things like arrow, water, fire, thunder. I'm missing something for Captain Planet. Oh, blizzard. These 5 are generally going to be colored green. The second category is going to be physical, and these will typically be colored yellow. A good example here is Ruin Blow. It's going to always have this icon of the star with the little bars underneath, while the magical version of Ruin is going to have only the star. Now, the second indicator that this is a physical type materia we find in the second symbol. It's going to be these 2 little squares stacked one on top of the other. Any physical materia is going to have this symbol here because it doesn't have a magic association. It's not wind, water, fire, etc. Physical materials are also going to have the 3rd symbol populated. This is called a sigil, and this is what we use to interrupt big enemy attacks. There are 3 different types. They're going to be circle, there's also triangle, and lastly X. Each one will serve to break a certain type of symbol, and we're going to really go into depth on these when we get to synthesis. Now, the 3rd type of category is going to be a lot more general, is what we're going to call support. Cure, despite being colored green, is going to fall under this category. We're also going to find things like barrier, mana wars, some of these healing asunas, which also serve to clear certain status effects during the fight. All of these we're going to group under support because if not, we'd end up with 1500 categories. They all follow the same rule as far as denomination. The first symbol is going to be specific for each materia. The second one is going to tell us if it's associated to any element, while the third one is going to be a sigil only for physical materials. Now, because that's not complicated enough, there's also a possible mix. For example, this fire breach, the icon is fire, which kind of tells our brain that this is a fire damage dealing materia, but it's not. We see in the second symbol that there is no elemental association. It's green though, so this is a magical type materia. It's going to deal magical damage with no elemental association, and obviously because it's magical, it doesn't have a sigil, but it does have an effect which is reducing the fire resistance of enemies. Now, to learn what each specific materia does, it's very important to come and read this description here. It not only explains what the materia does, but also how many enemies it can affect, what the duration is, what the potency is. That's not something that you're going to learn from just watching a video. You really have to go through here and read what each one does to understand what it is that you're going to be getting out of it. With that though, I think we finished talking about what materia is. The second subject today is going to be how to acquire it. There's going to be 3 general ways. The first one is going to be natural progression as you go through missions, levels, story. Some of these materials are going to drop automatically. That's why it's encouraged to do all story elements and clear every single dungeon at least once. The second way to acquire it is going to be through shops, and unfortunately I believe there's only one shop right now that can give you materia. There's not even money packs for them, we're gonna find them under Metal Exchange and specifically Crisis Metals. Now, Crisis dungeons are limited. We can only run one per day, so getting these medals is extremely difficult. I managed to claim already the Fire Breach. There's another two that I want. It's gonna take me forever to get them, but there's no other place that I know of right now where you can just go buy materia. The third and final place to get materia is where we're gonna be spending a lot of our time in the game. We're not gonna go into detail today, but it's synthesis. This is complicated. There's a lot of things you need to keep in mind. Next up on our subjects for today is going to be what materia does for us. Now, the most obvious effect from materia is that it's going to give us an ability. That ability is going to improve as we level up materia, as we manage to get our hands on higher star level materias. Getting them up there is hard. We're gonna have a specific video on that so you don't waste any resources like I did here at the beginning of the game. These are all things I did last week and thoroughly regret. I've learned a lot since then though, and I'm hoping I can help you not make the same mistakes that I did. But again, so the obvious effect is it's going to give us an ability. If we have 9 different materia slots in our party, that means we could potentially have 9 different abilities. Gives us plenty of flexibility for healing, protection, attack, everything we need. The second and not so obvious effect is that materia is a great way to improve the stats of our characters. What do we mean by stats? For that, I'm gonna head over to party. I am going to go to, I believe I prepared a naked Ffvii here with nothing equipped. Stats are what your character has and improves as they level up. We find 6 different ones in this game. They're going to be HP, the amount of life we have, our physical attack, physical defense, magical defense, and lastly heal. Now, all of those 6 stats we can boost with materia. In 4 of them, we have the option to boost with a flat number and a percentage, while 2 of them can only be boosted flat, which coincidentally are going to be physical defense and magical defense. HP, physical attack, magical attack, and heal can be percentual, as you see here, or flat, as you see in this cure. One thing to note that's going to be very important once we get to synthesis, you cannot have the same stat in both percentual and flat in the same materia. What do I mean by that? For example, if this Ruin Blow already has a percentual heal, no matter what I do to this materia, I will never be able to get a flat number heal in one of the other substats. We're going to cover this in great detail once we get to upgrading materia, but I wanted to mention it now. Just in case you're already playing around with upgrading, keep that in mind. If you already have percent, you can't get flat and vice versa. Now, as for the boosts themselves, we're gonna head back over here to our naked Ffvii. Her base stats, or at least as base as I can make them because I cannot remove this glove, are going to be found over here on the left. So a level 46 Ffvii is gonna have 2,986 HP, and this is the stat we're gonna be using as a guide. Now, to get the obvious out of the way, a flat boost, for example, a plus 10 HP, is going to result in a total of 2,996. Flat is flat, you just add it, you're done. Where it gets fun is with percentages. The first thing I'm gonna do as a demonstration is change this glove to the crystal gloves. Now, the crystal gloves, if you long press, you're going to see that it has an R ability of boost HP. So simply equipping these is going to give us a quite significant boost. Our new total is 3,161, and that's because under our abilities, we see that we have boost HP at level 1, and if we long press, again, a lot of details in this game, we see that level 1 gives us a flat 25 HP and also a 5% boost. That's what gives us this new total of 3,161. Next step is to keep equipping stuff, but I want to mention something really quickly that makes this game a little bit different. In a lot of gachas, when you equip percentual boosts, that percent is going to be calculated on the base stat of the character. In the case of Ffvii, we saw that the base was 2986. If I were to equip something with 10%, that should give us an additional 298 HP, right? Because the base was 2986. Ever Crisis is different though. Percentual boost in Ever Crisis Snowball, the next piece of equipment that I put on her that gives me a percentual HP boost, that percent is going to be calculated on this new total that we have here. This makes percentual boost even better than irregular gachas. They're already far superior than flat in the vast majority of cases. Here it's even more important because they can keep snowballing. Let's demonstrate. Our new total right now is 3186. I have a fire materia over here that has an additional 2.6%, and when we equip it, we see Ffvii's stats jump to 3242. That's our new total then, and we can keep working up, keeping in mind that any further percentual boosts are going to be calculated on this new quantity. Here I have, for example, a Materia Blow with an additional 1.1%. I'm going to go ahead and equip it, and we get a new stat total of 3277. Up next, just for shits and giggles, another Water Blow, and this one I believe has an additional 1% HP. Now we are at 3308, and we see that the stupid game keeps rounding down. Now, to not muddy the water any more than we need to, I'm not going to equip a second weapon because we then get into different levels of boost, HP, our ability. The whole calculation gets a lot more complicated, but this is a simple demonstration demonstration of how percentual boosts to our stats can give us a great benefit. We gained a little bit over 300 HP with just materia and some crappy weapons equipped. Now, your choice of materia obviously has to go way beyond stats. They're amazing, they're great, we want to be efficient and try to get the best out of them, but the function of materia is incredibly important. For example, elemental materias can hit bosses harder, most of them have some sort of elemental weakness, and materia also helps us to interrupt their big attack phases. The auto-equip function in the game does a very decent job at deciding for you, eliminating some of the having to look for specific stuff, but there's still times when you're gonna want to play around a little bit. For example, at some point the game decided that it would be a great idea to put barrier on my Cloud, which is my main damage dealer. I don't want Cloud to sit there casting barrier over and over again, so I had to make some manual changes. The idea is to have a wide selection of materia, especially when it comes to sigils. Let the game pick out the best for you, but make manual adjustments when it's needed. With a little bit of finessing, we can give our teams a much better chance at success. But that's all the time we're gonna have for today. I think that's quite enough information for one session. I hope the video is useful. I hope it gives you a better understanding of the different functions of materia, what we should look for in them, what equipping them does to your party, and really highlight the importance of this mechanic in this game. In the next episode of the series, we're gonna go into detail we're gonna go into great detail about synthesis. This area of the game is guaranteed to drive you nuts, as a lot of it is RNG, purely luck based. There's very few things that we can do to control the outcome, and we're gonna be synthesizing over and over and over again, trying to get something useful. Like I mentioned at the start, the last episode would be how to upgrade your materia. I'm gonna say goodbye for today. If you haven't already, guys, please remember to hit like, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell so you don't miss any upcoming videos, and I'll see you guys again very soon. Bye!